In this video, you will learn how to use custom formatting, and you will move from a novice to an expert in using custom formats. The custom format, you have 4 segments. The first segment specifies how you want your positive numbers to be formatted. The second segment specifies how you want your negative number to be formatted, and the third segment specifies how you want your zeros to be formatted. The last segment determines how you want your text to be formatted. Indicated are some of the key symbols and color codes used in custom formatting. Different key symbols will be used in the 10 examples explained in this tutorial. And by the end of this tutorial, you will become an expert and understand the use of each of the key symbols. Check the description below to download the workbook as a reference material. The workbook also contains 10 examples of where and how to use custom format that we will be going through in this tutorial. Sometimes we want to hide some data in cells we use in calculation in Excel. The common way is to make the text or data the same color as the background. This will hide the text, but when you change the background color, the text will definitely show again. This is not what we want. To effectively hide text in or data in some cell, highlight the cell and press Ctrl 1 to go to your custom dialog box. We won't be specifying any custom formatting style for all the 4 segments as indicated here, the positive, zero, negative, and text segment. We only type in our segment separator, which is a semicolon, 3 times. And after typing it in, we'll press OK. Then when you check your cell, even if you change your cell's background, you will not see the text or data that are included in the text in these cells. Also note that the data in those cells can be used for calculation. They are not seen, but they are still available in the cells when you click on each cells, and you can use them for whatsoever calculation you want. So hide zero values, we select all our data. In this case, we add an extra row for a test run. Then you go to your custom dialog box. In your custom dialog box, the first segment, the positive value, you put an optional placeholder, that's your hash sign. The second segment, you also use an optional placeholder, meaning you can enter any value you want. And the zero segment, you leave it empty, just put the last semicolon. Then when you click OK, you will discover that all the zero values are no more showing. Then if you type in any zero in the last row that we selected, it will also not show up. But when you look at the cell, the zeros are still there in your formula bar. Then also, instead of using the optional placeholder, you can also type in general in the positive and the negative section, and they will also appear the same way to give you the same result. So replace the zero values. You can type in whatever you want in the section of the zero values. In this case, we'll type in L, and because it's a text, we have to put it in an inverted comma. This way, you will replace all the zero values with nil, but you can still use those zero values for calculation if you want. To ensure that our phone numbers start with 0, we select our phone numbers, then we'll go to custom formatting dialog box. Here we'll be using a first placeholder, which is 0. So since your phone number has 11 digits, you type in 12 zeros to ensure it starts with 1 0. This way, all your phone number will start with zeros. If you look at the sample here, you'll see it started with 0. Click OK. When you go back to your workbook, you will see that all the phone number have started with 0. In the case you want your phone number to start with your country code, just type in your country code and 10, the front of your country code. This will add the country code to all the phone numbers. And we can see from this example. Then for the extra cell we selected, if you type in a new phone number, it will automatically add the country code to it. In the last example under this, we want all our ID codes to appear in 5 digits. So you just have to type in 5 zeros, then all will be forced to appear in 5 digits number. So yeah, we'll be replacing the values there with text. And what we'll be looking at is to know if a student pass or fail. When a student pass, we'll replace the text with pass, and when the student fails, we'll replace the text with fail. And remember, in custom formatting, you can only specify maximum of 2 conditions. Here we'll be using the first condition for a student that score less than or equals to 50. The student's score will be changed to fail, and for those that score above 50 will pass. So because it's a two-way thing, we don't need to specify the other condition. If you are specified less than or equals to 50 failed, all the other score will be above 50. You can just put pass for the other condition, and you'll see in your workbook you have student fail or pass. These are very large numbers, and you might want to improve the way they appear, maybe in millions or in billions. So you go to your custom formatting. If you want to add commas to this number, you use your optional placeholder, a comma, and another optional placeholder. To add decimal places, you use 0.00, which is your first placeholder. If you add more zeros, it will increase the number of decimal places. Then a comma will remove thousands, another comma, and then will remove another thousands, which makes it you've removed millions. So you can represent that with millions in a word. And when you click OK, you will see that your numbers are showing in millions. So, but you can see some numbers are still very large than a million. To separate millions from billions, then we need conditional statements. So for numbers that are greater than or equals to a billion, what we do is we want to represent them in billions. So to represent them in billions, we use our 3 commas to remove 3 thousands, which will make it a billion. Then we'll write that in B to represent a billion. Then we'll go to the next conditional statement. You know, in custom formatting, you can only use 2 conditional statements. So for numbers that are in millions, you remove 2 commas. You put 2 commas to remove the millions. Then you represent them in M. And when we look at our workbook, you'll see that they are neatly written in billions and in millions. You can also use this data for calculation, and it will still give you your correct values. These numbers, what you are seeing here, are just representing this. It doesn't change the values in the cell. To include unit of measurement, we go to our custom format. Then we use optional placeholder for the value in the cell, then add kg to it. And you can see kg has been added, and this will compromise using these values for calculation. Let's find the average. You can see it's still giving us the average value. If you have formatted this as a text to include kg, you will not be able to do your calculation. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much. To change the color code of your numbers, in this case, we want to apply red to the negative values. So what we do is the positive value, we leave it as it is. Then in the negative value section, we'll put red in a square bracket. Then we'll put our first placeholder 0.00 since the number is in decimal places. Then we'll press OK, and you discover that all negative values are written in red. And you can also apply more formatting. If you want the negative value to be in brackets, then you put brackets around the 0.00. And if you want it to be negative, put a negative sign just before the 0.00. Now to apply color to the positive values, you can either use your color code or just type in green directly. Here I'll be using my color code. Color code 10 is green. In date format, M represents months, D represents days, and Y represents years. The number of M, D, or Y determines how the date will show. 3 M's will show your months in just 3 alphabets. But if you want it to be written in full, you put 4 M's. And let's assume you want your date to be written, you just want to extract just the year and the month. You write the month the way you want it, the number of M's you want, and the number of digits you want to show in the year value. And this will show up. But in another case, you might just want the days of the week from those dates. Here, we are going to use 4 days to show the whole days of the week. Check mark to our text. The first thing we do is to look for the check mark or the symbol you want to use. And for my own case, I've already picked the check mark symbol. I use symbols. I want to look for check mark within my symbols. So you can also look for any symbol you want to use. Then you select your text, go to your custom format. Then at your custom format, you type in your check mark or you paste the check mark you've copied. Then you put at to represent the text, and that's all. And you will see the check mark showing before all your text. And if you type in a new text where you select and formatted, it will show check mark immediately after you type the text. Here we would like to replace the positive value with an upward arrow and the negative value with a downward arrow. We'll select our cells and we'll go to our custom format. Then in the positive segment, we'll put the upward arrow, and in the negative segment, we'll put the downward arrow. Then you click OK, you'll see they are all replaced with the upward and the downward arrow. Ensure 0 appear as nothing, you put the last semicolon. Then click OK. The one with the 0 change appears as nothing. Then if you want to add color code to it, you can also type in your green for the upward direction, upward change in the square bracket, and red in the square bracket for the downward change. And the upward and the downward arrow will appear in green and in red, respectively. Then, if you want your numbers to show also, you use the optional placeholder, and for both the negative and the positive section, and the numbers will also appear within your cells. Also, if you want your numbers to be placed and your symbol to be placed at the left side of the cell and at the right side of the cell, you use an asterisk, which is the one that help you fill in the cell with whatsoever come after the asterisk. Here in our custom format is a space that is after the asterisk. That's why it's filling the cell with space. So no matter how big this cell is or how small the cell is, to always fill it with space. Before you go, you can go to the comment section, tell us about any new custom format method you've learned and any new knowledge you've gained. Also, you can also check our video that will be displayed in the card for Excel interview tips and tricks. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn off notification for you to be notified for any new posts from our channel. Thank you.